Ask somebody, ask and put it out in the real world. Chris, stop thinking that you know for sure what other people are thinking about you. I'm trying to face life with truth and courage. And here's what I'm facing right now. I've been noticing that what usually would happen is there's a situation that's in front of me, something unfolds, and I have an assessment and understanding of the situation. Then I would notice that my emotions and my mind would create a certain story that I would actually believe. And I've been rating those stories almost every day from 0 to 100%. What I've noticed and what I've learned is oftentimes when my fear was pretty high, and then it would completely distort everything else and how I view the whole situation, how I understand the whole situation. So this has been very useful for me to do, and I'm going to continue to do this because it's very useful for me to, when I'm logging, when I'm journaling at the end of the day, I'm trying to process my day. I'm trying to process my week or just, past few events. It's very useful for me to understand that when emotions were involved, and usually when emotions were very high, then it was much, much harder to see clearly what really went down, what really happened in that situation. So the way I feel about this whole week, after doing this for a whole week, I feel relieved because I've been helping myself to actually see clearly, more clearly, because, there's events that are happening, and then I could notice that I experienced the event in a certain way, but then when I have the time to sit down in the evening or in the morning and journal about how my day went or my week went, and I go over certain events, I often realize that there's a difference between how I experienced and noticed and processed and acted in the moment and versus how I feel after the fact. And when I actually look at the past events and I go over the details, I go, here's how I think I experienced it in the moment, and here's how I feel about it now. So it helps me actually navigate and process what happened, but also do better the next time. So it's very useful for me to log my mood, how I experience my day, how I experience a certain event. And, I also not only log my moods, but also give it a percentage. Giving it a percentage helps me understand much better how I felt in a moment. How I felt in a moment highly affected how I acted and how I thought in a moment. What I often have been believing in those situations were me, number one, I would say, was overthinking the whole situation. I'm a thinker. I think a lot, but sometimes I can overthink the situation. And also meaning that I can assume what others are thinking. So one of the things that I've learned was I have to stop assuming what other people think and actually test whatever I'm thinking out in the real world. Actually ask somebody. I would say that's probably my biggest learning from the past week. Ask somebody. Ask and put it out in the real world. Chris, stop thinking that you know for sure what other people are thinking about you. So that's my biggest learning, that I have to test whatever I'm thinking, test my theories out there in the real world. If I'm thinking something, if I believe that somebody is thinking something about me, the only thing I should really do is just ask the question so I can know for sure, instead of just continuing to make things up in my mind that are not based on truth and not grounded in truth. So I really learned to distinguish real needs and real events in my life from what my fear and my emotions and my mind was trying to tell me. That's a big learning for me. So I'm getting ready to move on to owning my truth proudly and really stop minimizing myself and stand behind what I believe is true. Sometimes in certain situations, I have my truth that I hold dearly, and then I end up in a situation and I end up minimizing myself and not always speak up. So I'm going to continue to work on myself, and I'm going to specifically work on this area. I'm going to learn to stand behind what I know that is true. So if you sometimes notice that you are not speaking up and not telling your truth and not acting with truth and courage, please join the club. That's what we do here in the Empower Living Club. We face life with truth and courage, and we figure out how to win the hardest inner battles. And I'm fighting a few demons here. And then we share the exact tools so you can win yours. So live truthfully and live courageously. I'm doing this, so I think you can do this too. My name is Chris Kasome. Keep living an empowered life.